Welcome to Our Savior Lutheran Platte City and Smithville Online Midweek Informational Activity Update and Words of Life devotion. This morning I want to talk to you about some of the things that are going on or some of the things that are still happening yet in October. We have more things going on in November and then on out into December when we get into the Advent season. First thing I want to thank everybody for is the fish fry. I know I've done that already, but awesome. Thank you. We made approximately $2,600 for the congregation for that. And so I want to thank those behind the scenes and those who donated everything for that. Thank you very much. And for all of you who came, there was a good representation of both campuses as our congregation remains one. And then for those of you who don't know, youth confirmation has already started. So if you have a 7th or 8th grader and you haven't gotten the information or you didn't look at the emails that were sent out, please call the office or get a hold of me. It's not too late, especially the way we're doing the program now. And then adult confirmation or refresher course, I apologize. I just haven't gotten it done yet. I don't have a specific a number of people, so I hesitate just to throw it out there and nobody show up. So I'm still coordinating that. But I hope to do one before the end of the year. And then Day of Hope. I know here in Platte City we have boxes with food, and please return, or for you to fill and a list. Return those by October the 24th, 28th. Information on that. You can get from the office or in the emailed announcements. And then October 16th is the fall fundraiser for Smithville for the Academy, 11 to 4. If you can find time to come to that, please do so. And let me see on my list here. Okay, so we're going to kick off Right Now Ministries on the 10th. And so what is that? Right Now Ministries is a repository. District, I went to them and I said, what resource out there is there that we can give to people who are at home, or since we haven't gotten Sunday school back yet because we don't have enough kids coming back, families are still coming, but what can we do? And what can we do for Bible studies for those who want to study together as a small group or a life group? Or what about what can we do for our own personal devotions besides just reading the catechism, which I encourage you to do? And so Right Now Ministries has a whole bunch of things. It has got more than you could study in your lifetime. And now it's not all Lutheran, but don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. If you run into something that you don't understand, that's what Pastor Radcliffe or Bon or myself or many other people in the congregation can help guide you. And so there's going to be an email mailed out to you. And so from Right Now Ministries, and so you can go and you can log on, and it's something that we're putting on as a church, and we're going to push it more and more next year. One of the things I hope to do after the first of the year is to put out a monthly suggested study guide from it, and so hopefully we'll get that done as part of the ministry plan for 2022. And then on the 31st is it's a celebration for my 25th anniversary in the ministry. I was installed here as pastor in October of 2003. And so I've been here a long time. I've been serving since June of 2002. And yet total in the ministry, just from my installation date, was in July. It's 25 years, and so the congregation is putting that on. Most of you know about it, but I just want to make sure for those of you who do attend that so you hear that there's only one service that Sunday, and I believe it's at 10 o'clock, and it's here in Platte City. And so we'll have that service, and then after that service, then we'll go over to Smithville, and we'll have a meal. And that gets both of the campuses used. Okay, for the celebration. It also allows us not to have to sit around and clean this one all up before we can sit down and eat, which for those of you who've been involved in that in the past, that's a madhouse, okay? And so it'll already be done and ready over there. And so if you haven't RSVP'd, please consider doing so that they can get a head count for the meal and for chairs and everything. If you don't and you still want to come, please come. Because it's going to be a celebration. I'm kind of anxiously looking forward to it, I guess might be a way to look at it. But at the same time, I do what I do, not for things like that, but because I love Jesus, I don't want to share him. All right, those are the announcements I have. Last Sunday, I preached on Hebrews 3:12. And it's an important passage because it tells us to watch out, beware, pay attention, take heed. And 12 says, fellow Christians, that none of you have a wicked heart which in unbelief turns away from God. Now, in the time of COVID, a lot of people have quit going to church. A lot of people have quit praying. And a lot of people are suffering. As you've heard me say before, the drug rates are going up, the suicide rates are going up, the depression rates are going up. We've applied for a grant with LWML to start a lifeline, an online where we can have people come and contact from the congregation and from the school and from the areas, because there's so many issues today with who we are, that whole crazy stuff that they're pushing about being woke. Be careful. Sunday I used Ephesians 4, 11 and following, and it says, be careful that we're not pushed around by every doctrinal wind and by the trickery of people and their clever scheming that lead us astray from the living God. And so we need to be careful of that. So for our words of life today, I'm going to back up from Ephesians 4, and that was 11 and following, and to go to verse 1 of Ephesians 4. St. Paul writes, and he says, so I, a prisoner of the Lord, urge you to live in a manner worthy of people whom God has called. See, God calls us. He's the one who's called us by name and made us his, summoned us. He writes, be humble and gentle in every way, be patient, and bear with one another in a loving manner. Do your best to keep the oneness of the Spirit, using peace as your bond. Now be careful with that, because we're not pacifists in any way, shape, or form. There was a time, yes, Jesus said, turn your swords and stuff into plowshares, but there was also a time to do it the other way. There's a time when Jesus made a whip and he drove the money changers out of the temple. So it's okay to defend yourself. It's okay to stand up for who you are. But we don't do it out of emotional anger. We don't do it out of hatred. Those are not things we're called to do. And so we do use peace as the bond. In the military, one of the things, I don't remember how the saying goes, but I always made it my own, and saying, you want to keep peace? Carry a big stick. Or maybe something that has more firepower. I was in the artillery, 100-pound projectiles out of howitzer. Anyway, what I'm getting at is that we do need to be gentle. We need to be humble. And when we do that, as my mom said, you catch a lot more with honey than you do with salt. But yet at the same time, you have to keep that saltiness, because if you lose that saltiness, then you're blown around by any wave of doctrine. And it goes on, there is one body and one Spirit, even as you have been called to share one hope, one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is over all, through all, and in all. By grace, but grace has been given to each of us, measured out by Christ who gave it. Then I want to end with just a little bit about grace. I don't remember what I was reading a couple weeks ago, but it was about a husband and wife that got a divorce, or were going to, because the wife cheated on the husband. And it was just a story. I'm pretty sure it was fictional even. But she committed adultery. And he was so mad. And he tried to take everything, tried to run her job, tried to run her life, tried to take the kids. He went from being the husband that she loved and cherished, and she just made a mistake, to a wicked dude. And so he was sitting talking at a bar with someone, and the guy said, yeah, you're probably justified in getting revenge and getting even if that's what you feel you have to do. But in the Christian church, the one thing different than any other religion is grace. Do you understand what grace is? And he said, no. And he said, grace is something that is given even when the person doesn't deserve it. It's not forgetting, but it is overlooking and moving on. Grace is never something you can buy. It's never something you can deserve. It's never something you can earn. Grace is given freely. And it's profound. In the story, the husband had a change of heart, and he gave grace. I'm not sure the wife was really happy by that point because she was pretty mad, but yet we make mistakes. My dear friends, you're going to make mistakes. And God gives you grace. You don't deserve it. I don't deserve it. But he still forgives us. God's riches at Christ's expense. So whatever's going on in your life, please know that he loves you so much that Jesus died for you, redeemed you, and forgave you. Amen.
Welcome to our study of the Gospel of John.
I have fallen in love with the work of Paul as I've studied the book of 1 Corinthians, and I believe you will too.
This is where Jesus taught in Capernaum, and you have to understand this scene.
The Lord is my shepherd. And over the next 6 weeks, we're going to look deeply into the 23rd Psalm.
Right Now Media. It's for groups. It's for personal devotion. It's for parents.
The bullseye of parenting is to raise children who become like Jesus.
It's for kids.
This is Phil. We're digging into the Bible, which, as we've mentioned, is more than just a book.
It's for tough times.
So when you recognize that you're trying to have a conversation with your spouse and they're not ready to talk, it's not helpful to keep pressing them.
It's for every phase of life.
If you've made mistakes with money, you know what that makes you? Over 12.
And now, it's yours. We've purchased a Right Now Media subscription for everyone in our church. So check your inbox for the digital invitation and download the app for instant access to thousands of biblically based videos. Get equipped. Get inspired.